How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Chris Bosh is one of the most underappreciated and forgotten players of the 2010s decade. Set to have his retirement ceremony on March 26th in Miami, CB left everything on the line when it mattered most, had an amazing 13-year career. When it came to the Miami Heat team that won back-to-back titles, everyone always talks about LeBron and Wade, but often forgets about Bosh and how great he was to those teams. He was also a beast back in his Toronto days, so in case you were wondering, just how good was prime Chris Bosh? Selected 4th overall in the loaded 2003 draft class, only LeBron James, Darko Milicic, and Carmelo Anthony were picked ahead of him. After spending a year at Georgia Tech, Bosh was selected by the Raptors, was actually former teammates with Vince Carter, who was still with Toronto until December of 2004. Due to the franchise lack of success, winning a horrendous 24 games before Bosh's arrival and only 33 games CB's rookie season, Carter grew impatient, forcing his way out of Toronto. From then on, the keys to the franchise was handed over to the 20-year-old power forward. Despite not being on the level of LeBron, Wade, and Melo his first 2 seasons, by his 3rd year, Bosh made significant progress, led his team in scoring, averaged 22.5 points, over 9 rebounds, known for his deadly mid-range game. As a very versatile big man at 21 years old, was stuck in a tough situation in a team where he had no help. It was impressive enough for Bosh to carry his team to 47 wins, winning the Atlantic Division as the 3rd seed. The second best player on his team that season was TJ Ford, whose career was cut short by injuries. Other than Vince Carter, Bosh's best teammates during his time up north was Mike James, who he had in 2006, TJ Ford, and Jose Calderon, who was only viewed as an average starting caliber point guard. With the lack of help, Bosh only made the playoffs twice, in 2007 and 08 during his time with the Raptors, lost in the first round to the Nets and Magic. Both teams were just way better. Appeared on All-NBA second team in 07, finished 7th in the MVP race, averaged between 22 to 24 points a game between 2006 to 2010, had his best statistical season in 2010, putting up 24 and 11 on 52% shooting when he was the first option on his team. Also finished in the top 10 that season in both points and rebounds. Because Toronto wasn't an attractive destination for star players to go, the franchise had to depend on building their guys through the draft, which they miserably failed after drafting Bosh. Selecting Andrea Bargnani with the 1st overall pick in 2006 never became the star player he was supposed to be. One of the most notable traits during Bosh's time there, getting 30-year-old Jermaine O'Neal, who was slowed down by injuries, was traded to Miami after a half a season, getting Sean Marion in return, who also didn't fit well. Because the Raptors never got much coverage, a lot of fans never seen Bosh play until he made the best decision of his career by taking his talents to South Beach in the summer of 2010 in a trade exception, allowing LeBron to join, creating a big 3, left Toronto as the all-time franchise leader in points before it was broken by DeMar DeRozan, first in rebounds, free throws made, block shots, and double-doubles. Considered the most multi-talented power forward at the time, Duncan and Garnett were heading into their mid-30s, with the ability to dominate on both ends of the floor, having a totally different role with many adjustments. Bosh made huge sacrifices for the better of the team, having his lowest scoring average since his 2nd season, with James and Wade often driving into the lane. Bosh totally transformed his game, taking almost half his shots from outside 15 feet as a stretch 4, because Wade already won a championship, and LeBron was the best player in the game at the time. Every time Miami loses, they had to put the blame on someone, and Bosh undeservingly got most of the criticism, constantly getting made fun of and being called overrated when he underperforms. After Shaq retired and became the newest member of Inside the NBA on TNT, he referred to Miami as the Big 2. KD even showed his displeasure after Bosh committed a hard foul on James Harden, called him a big tough guy, viewed as one of the NBA's biggest punching bags, far worse than when Kevin Love got criticized while playing with LeBron. Bosh was often labeled soft, can't rebound, and not a true big man. The Basketball Jones folks even created a music video, like a Bosh, dissing him. When you think something's going to be awesome, it turns out to be terrible, like a Bosh. Viewed as an easy target, but when the games were on the line come winning time, Bosh was the X factor to Miami's success. The team heavily relied on him to reach their full dominant potential. Sure, he wasn't as great as the elite players like his teammate Wade and James, guys like Kobe, Dirk, and Nash, but he was between a top 10 to top 15 player in his prime, no doubt about that. Averaged over 23 a game against the Bulls in the conference finals. You could even make the argument he was the 2nd best player that series. Outplayed and destroyed Carlos Boozer, dropped 34 in Game 3, carrying both James and Wade, helped his team win Game 3 of the 2011 finals by hitting a clutch jumper, putting the Heat up 2 with 40 seconds left, got hurt in Game 1 of the 2012 semis against the Pacers, where Miami beat them in a tough competitive 6-game series, a series that wasn't expected to go that far, suffered an abdominal strain, missing 3 weeks before returning in Game 5 against Boston in the conference finals, had 19 big points in Game 7 as a plus 17 in a win over the Celtics. Miami would not have beaten Boston without Bosh in 2012. Didn't have his best numbers in the 2013 playoffs, but once again came up big when it mattered most, excelled in the pick and roll, was excellent on the switches, held his own against bigger guys and able to cover smaller guys out the perimeter, had the single most important rebound in NBA history, saving LeBron's legacy, fighting for the loose ball, kicking out to Ray Allen, draining the triple to send the game to OT. In the final seconds of OT, blocked Danny Green's 3 to tie, came up huge defensively at the buzzer. That was all he needed. Despite not scoring a single point in Game 7 of the finals, his off-ball defense was huge, fought hard to stay in front of Tim Duncan, very active throughout. Miami would not have won Game 7 without Bosh's effort, leaving his imprint as the defensive anchor. Added another recipe to his game the following season, after only making 87 threes his first 10 seasons, knocked down 74 triples in the 2014 season. 29% of his shots were from outside 22 feet, connecting on 38% of them. At 29 years old, that's a remarkable development for a big man at that stage of his career. After 2 titles in 4 seasons with Miami, LeBron went back to Cleveland. At the time, Bosh was the face of the franchise and was viewed the better player than Wade, who was banged up and was getting older. CB signed a 5-year, $118 million deal. Of course, the team was nowhere near as good without LeBron, but Bosh at 30 years old was putting up his best numbers since his Raptors days, became a way more effective outside shooter, averaged over 21 a game in the 2015 season, before being out after the All-Star break due to having blood clots in one of his lungs. Would return the following season, which unfortunately would be his last, was still an All-Star player, averaged over 19 points in 53 games, failed his physical exam in September of 2016, wasn't cleared to participate in training camp. Looking to attempt multiple comebacks, Bosh was never able to return to the NBA. No longer pursuing an NBA return, Chris Bosh will leave one lasting image when the Heat are set to retire his #1 jersey before being in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Yes, the 11-time All-Star is without a doubt a future Hall of Famer. If his career wasn't cut short, Bosh would still be a solid player today. With his ability to shoot the long ball, currently at 35 years old, Bosh is viewed as one of the most underappreciated All-Star players in the 2010s decade, having career averages of 19.2 points, 8.5 rebounds. What's your favorite Chris Bosh memory? Where do you rank him amongst the all-time best power forwards? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I talk NBA comparisons, amazing storylines, NBA history, and anything basketball that will interest you. If you love the NBA, subscribe for more content, more great stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.